a lot of your films that I've seen, they kind of they tackle a complex social issues, kind of like you've talked about a little bit before, and you gave us a little bit of a snippet into your creative process. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Expand a little bit more about your actual creative process when you go to tackle a project?
Yeah, I mean, I think first, a good artist, right, is a sensitive artist. And what I mean by that is like you have to be sensitive to the world around you. And you have to constantly be looking and searching and listening and watching, right? I don't think we can make a film in a box, right? I think oftentimes people think that a writer, and this is part of it, right? You're in a dark room and you're like typing away and you're trying to figure things out. And that is a part of it, but I think that comes after the sort of deep studying that you've done of the world. And so my point in starting there is that one of the main sort of components of my process is one, to listen to the stories that are going on around me, right? I used to work in a grocery store and you meet a bunch of interesting people that are coming in. I was the checkout guy, whatever. I'm bringing their groceries up, bing, bing, and I'm listening to them, and we just having conversations. And sometimes they would say some of the most interesting things, and I still have this somewhere. It's in a box, but I would basically take the receipt paper and I would write down, either a story that they told me, or I would write down a quote that they said, or I would write down an experience that they said they had that was very meaningful to them, or that changed their lives, or something that really impacted them in a way that they could not sort of shake it. And from that, I would write movies. I would write short stories. I would write the poetry that I mentioned earlier because I was always, again, a student of the world and really, really wanting to soak in as much as I could. And so a lot of my process, obviously, is talking to people. I'm doing a lot of research. If there's ever something that compels me to tell it, if there's a story or I'll see a photo or again, I'll talk to someone, I may then go down 6 months of research of finding as many people as I can who have either experienced it, who can sort of expand my idea of whatever the subject is that I'm telling, who can maybe give me more insight, who can help me sort of navigate the world because oftentimes we're telling stories about worlds that we have not experienced, and I think you do a disservice not only to yourself as an artist, but you really do a disservice to the stories that you're telling and the people that you're putting on screen if you are not finding ways to include them in the telling of those narratives, right? Now, a lot of things that I do, right, as I said earlier, I've experienced them, or there is a lot of times the stuff that's happened in the family or with friends. And so again, even in those moments where I feel like I am an integral part of the narrative because I've lived it with those individuals, I'm still going to go and have conversations with them to make sure that I'm telling the story in such a way that it doesn't offend is the wrong word, but where it gives I don't know, it gives dimension to their narrative, right? Because oftentimes you can have a conversation with someone and you can experience something, but you're only experiencing it from your point of view. The question is, how are they experiencing that same thing? And I think in order for you to write something that has nuance and complexity to it, you have to really, really understand the story from both sides. And so, yeah, I'm talking, I'm writing, I'm listening, I'm immersing myself in podcasts. I don't necessarily watch a bunch of movies when I'm trying to research because I don't want to necessarily pull from people's ideas. Now, when I get into the creative process in terms of like visualizing it or even performance things, then I will go and start watching films to try to pull things from them. But for the most part, I try to stay away from that and I try to read a lot and I try to, again, go to art galleries and experience that art. And again, I talk to as many people as I can because I think for me, the stories, again, come from the real world before they actually get on the screen.